right, we are now transitioning back to me. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the Tek Torrent Podcast. I am Shinji, and we'll be joined soon with Andrew in a moment. Let me know if the audio is good. We did a lot of checking, made sure everything was good for this week. How is everyone doing today? Today on the Tek Torrent Podcast, episode number 4 of the year, the 3050 has launched, and it's okay. The EVGA 3.0Q updates, and we get to see first use with the 3050 launch. Intel Arc Alchemist doesn't go full metal, but more like full glass. And of course, AI supercomputer is Metaverse's AI supercomputer is gonna change your life. All right, before we get started, let's see who is here in the chat. Red Llama Crypto, thank you for joining. Soul7, how you doing? Doom Miner, Budweiser, and no excuse. You got no excuse to not be here. So thank you for everyone for joining us here live on the podcast. If you are watching the rerun, well, we love you too. So we will now transition to our screen with our lovely second host, Andrew. How are you doing, Andrew?
Well, I'm doing all right. I'm looking forward to these topics. One thing, that Meta AI supercomputer is a Meta AI supercomputer, not a Metaverse supercomputer.
That is correct. It is a Meta supercomputer. As
Meta,
in
as
not
in a
part,
company.
Yes, company. Thank you for correcting me on that.
Had to do it.
We will be going over that in just a moment, but first, before we get into that, let's talk about our lovely NVIDIA 3050. And before we continue, I just want to say some other people showed up all of a sudden. Red Panda Mining is here. How you doing, man? Thanks for joining our stream. Some Goblin Loser as well. All right, so the first topic for today, the 3050. All right, regardless of what you might think, it's actually not a bad card. Now, I'm going to get to the reasons why it might be in a moment, but according to the numbers that's come out, Gamers Nexus, all the YouTubers have done reviews, testing, and all that good stuff. Let me get to the bottom line. If you are looking for a graphics card and you don't want to spend a lot of money and you don't plan on upgrading, it's not a bad card if you can get it for MSRP. In my opinion, that's under $300, between $250 and $300, because you're not going to find it for under $250. That's just not possible right now. Let's go over some specs. The 3050 is built on the same Ampere architecture as the 3060 Ti. It uses 8 gigabytes of GDDR6 VRAM, same kind on the 3060 Ti rather. And the card has 2,560 CUDA cores, has a base clock of 1.55 gigahertz, boost clock of 1.78 gigahertz, and a 128-bit memory interface. And it seems to be targeted at 1080p gaming, which is still, in my opinion, like a bare bit minimum standard. It's still a good standard. I think everyone should be at 1080p gaming. The days of 720p are over. Let's just go into some performance specs. I am still recovering from human malware, so I'll still be hacking up a little bit. The 3050's performance, compared to cards that launched over 3 years ago, it's kind of the same, which is very sad. So the 2060 KO still beats it, which is sad because that came out almost 2.5 years ago at this point. The 3050 is slightly faster than the 1066 gigabyte, and it's also slightly faster than the 1660. It is also confirmed to have LHR, which, if you guys don't know, that is NVIDIA's face-saving measure called light hash rate. It's also a bit slower than it's like very, very close in performance to the 1070, even though it's over 3 years old. Last thing, it is branded as an RTX GPU, but playing ray tracing and all the eye candy on is probably not recommended, because getting a decent frame rate of at least 30 to 60 FPS probably very difficult in most games. So going into that, I'm going to get to a different part of that in just a moment. But Andrew, have you heard about this card?
No, I actually haven't heard about it until today. So,
I mean, you're not missing much.
No, honestly, I've got some talking points for it. I think the price is probably in this market the sweet spot right now. 250 to 300 is not a whole lot of money for a graphics card. We talked about it with the 6500 XT coming out at $199. That's cheap in this market. There are not GPUs that are worth buying at that price point. 6500 XT kind of included.
Mm-hmm.
The 3050, not a bad card for 249. The thing to look at in terms of price and value for this particular card is what you actually get when you're going over MSRP. You know, it's fine. Maybe you want some RGB. That's fine if you want to pay extra for it. But if you're looking at cards over $300 that don't have any special features or anything that might stand out to you as being a value add, then you really shouldn't be going over $300. Most of the cards that have factory OCs at higher MSRPs only have an 80 megahertz overclock.
Maybe.
Not something you're going to see in terms of performance. You won't notice it at all. You're probably talking about 1% performance increase, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
With all that being said, I do think it's not a bad idea to get a card like this over a used card at a similar price point. So even if the 2060 or the 1060 kind of surrounded in terms of performance, I think the 3050 is still a good buy because it has the latest version of NVIDIA's ray tracing cores, their RT cores, and they're going to perform a bit better than the 2000 series GPUs. So while it might not be the most performance card on the market, those ray tracing cores are going to be more efficient, and they're actually going to perform better in terms of enabling ray tracing without taking so much of a performance hit. And that, I think, is key because NVIDIA wants people to use ray tracing. It's the future of gaming, whether you're on NVIDIA or not. But I think this card, if it can achieve 1080-60 with ray tracing, then that's fine for a lot of people. At this price point especially. They're not going to have super high expectations. They're going to be wanting to play the game at a frame rate that's actually playable. And I think this card is going to deliver on that promise.
Yeah, for sure. Excuse me. It also has, like as you were saying, the second generation of RT cores. First generation was a 2000 series, 3000 series, the second generation. So they are more efficient, take less energy, perform better, all that good stuff. I will say another thing one thing I like about the card is that it's typically much smaller. So being that it's such a low wattage card, this might be the perfect card for a really tiny compact ITX build for like a streaming machine in your living room. Don't want to make a lot of noise, don't want to take a lot of space, want it to look aesthetically pleasing, all that good stuff. So GPU prices have come down quite a bit, like a lot. So from the high of nearly 3x MSRP for a 3080 and such on eBay, we've gone down to nearly MSRP if you include the cost of fees, shipping, and e-commerce. Okay, so let me explain. If this GPU, whatever, costs $1,000 for me to sell it on eBay and for me to get $1,000 in my pocket, I'd have to add 15 to 13%. eBay takes 13% right off the top. So $1,050 would probably be about the price on eBay if it was MSRP. Now, with all that said, if you look at cards right now on eBay, oh yeah, they are getting close. The 3090, for example, is regularly going for $2,500 to $3,000 instead of $4,500, $4,000, $3,500, crazy numbers. The LHR cards are all very close to MSRP, all within like 1.5 times. So with that, Andrew, with this card coming out, taking off pressure off the market, I think this finally kills the GPU shortage, right? We're done. This is it. We're back to a normal market. Isn't that correct? All of our problems are solved.
Not quite. The thing is, I think we're getting closer, though. I think we're getting closer. The thing is, a card like this, you would expect to sell more just because more people can afford it. But NVIDIA is still going to want to be making 3060 Ti's. And actually, it's 3060s that use the same die, rather. So unless they're getting these bad dies that have to be cut down into lower-end cards, they're probably still going to try and produce more 3060s, capture a little bit more profit. But I think the big thing for this card, the big value that it has to gamers, is that it performs a little bit better than a 1660 Ti, but it offers the latest ray tracing technology, so you can enjoy games with full eye candy if you want. And it has the latest version of DLSS, so that's really going to help with performance, as well as quality and gaming in the future. I think those are huge features that an older card, 16 series, 10 series GPUs are they're going to have to slowly fade out of existence because they're not going to keep up without those technologies. So even though this is a fairly low-end card in today's lineup, the 30 series, it's the most basic card NVIDIA has right now, I think it will have a longer lifespan than a lot of those older cards. I think this card could still be used in a few years because NVIDIA is constantly developing that technology to give this card more performance, whether that's through new versions and iterations of DLSS or whatever else.
Yeah, and last thing I want to touch on that is compared to the 6500 XT launch that removed features that are going to be critical to something as simple as playing a YouTube video in the next couple of years, right? This card, the 3050, is not missing any of that. It has it all. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, it has the same encoders and stream processors on it, the actual silicon. So it won't be exactly the same, but it'd be like 90% of what you get on a 3090 for encoding video and stuff. So alternatively, like for me, if I can get one of these at MSRP, I'm ripping my other Kingpin out and putting one of these in, because that's all it's going to be doing. It's just going to be encoding video. The encoder chip ASIC part of the silicon is all basically the same in the same generation of cards. So 3000 series all basically have the same chip. It's the rest of the die that's bigger that has more, oomph.
Yeah, exactly. So the NVENC encoder and decoder are going to be the same as the other cards in the 30 series lineup. Honestly, the number of CUDA cores in this card is still pretty significant for a 50 series GPU. So I honestly don't think it's a weak card by any means. I do think that the memory bus is a little bit of a handicap, but it keeps it in line with the price point and the performance you would expect, and creates enough separation between it and the 3060 that there is still potential for them to drop a 3050 Ti.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, come on, guys. If they make it, it's gonna sell in this market. So I think it's gonna happen. One last thing before we move on to the next subject is if you look at Newegg right now on eBay, these cards are currently, the cheapest one I can find on Newegg is $529 at the moment. The cheapest 65 the cheapest 6500 XT I could find is $270. So people obviously want these cards a little bit more than the other one, probably because it's actually better. Did you have anything else on that, Andrew?
No, I mean, honestly, I think it's a great value at $249, and up to $300. It's, in my opinion, I think it's a buy if you're on, let's say, a 10 series GPU or older, or just building a new computer. And if you don't have a computer right now, it's probably going to play the games you want to play just fine. If you don't have high expectations coming from a high-end card to begin with, this is really the sweet spot between price to performance. You can get a better card, but you're paying a good amount more money.
More percentage for less performance.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting diminishing return right off the bat. So for $249, you want to play some games, you can go ahead and do that. You can pair it with a fairly affordable Ryzen CPU and have a computer that's going to last for years. A little bit more versatile and probably a little bit longer of a lifespan than if you were to quote unquote invest in a console. But that's really up to the buyer if they want to get a PC or a console. But some people have to choose one or the other, and they need a computer for work, school, whatever. So this card kind of allows people to have the best of both worlds at a reasonable price.
Exactly. So before we move on to the next subject, we're gonna take a look at comments between sections, so you guys know we're not ignoring anything. We are keeping track of it. Let's see. Looking at the comments. So there was one from, I think, some goblin loser. I think. Yeah, a paper launch. Yeah, possibly. It could have been. Sorry, that was from Doom Miner. That MSRP was a paper launch price. I would say it's less of a paper launch than the other 3000 series cards, because this one, trust me, as soon as the scalpers realize that, you know, people don't really want to pay a lot of money for these and they're going to be stuck with them, I think we're going to get very close to MSRP, especially since the deep machine learning market has calmed down quite a bit.
Well, speaking of just day one launch of this card, there were 4 different models available on the Newegg Shuffle at $249.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They had some more expensive options, of course, but yeah, for having 4 models on launch, and I know I've talked to a couple people that actually got a notification for that, so they do exist, and I think that's really a great thing. You know, it's not the best when these partner cards have SKUs that cost, you know, significantly more than even the MSRP of the next card up. Like the ROG Strix, I think, was fairly expensive, more than a 3060.
Oh my god, yeah, it was $489 or something like that.
Yeah,
ROG
yeah.
6 3050. I'm just like,
Exactly.
really, dude? Like, that better have like a freaking solid copper cooler, something to justify nearly double. Sorry, it's a freaking 3050. Like, come on, really?
Yeah.
We got a question in chat from Red Panda Mining. What is gaming performance versus the 1660 Super Ti? Super/Ti.
It's a notch above in most benchmarks and games, but you know, the advantage is you have ray tracing, so it's similar in performance. Which, if it didn't have ray tracing, you'd say, well, that's not a great deal at all. You know, you're comparing it to an old card, but it has the performance that's playable for most games today, all games today. 1080p, maybe 60, but it adds these features that make it a better value rather than investing in an old technology or a card that as soon as it launches, it's pretty much garbage.
Obsolete. Yeah, garbage.
Yeah, exactly.
Waste of sand, perhaps.
So yeah, it's pretty comparable in performance to those 1660 Super/TIs, but it is definitely slightly quicker. It's not equal, it is slightly better.
It's also, so one other thing that a lot of people that just look at graphs that you might not notice is the power consumption. So it is in fact more efficient if you look at wattage per performance compared to the old SKUs of the 1000 and 2000 series. It is more efficient. So if we consider that, I would say the performance is at par or better than the 1660 Super and Ti. The 2060 KO specifically is still a little better than it. But for example, if I put a 2060 KO in my computer and then I have another exact computer with the 3050, for streaming and video encoding, the 3050 would be better. So just so you guys know. Soul7 says, NVIDIA's idea lets the public, throws the public into depression, bring out super OP cards. When they can't get them, then hit them with low performance cards. Yeah, like, hey, look what I got here. Then, oh, sorry, psych, this is all we have. Then you have that, well, I'm already here, I might as well buy that little thing, right? Maybe, I don't know, man, maybe. I think NVIDIA wants to make money, so they won't do that as much, but I could see that being, it's kind of like that Geico commercial where they have the dollar on a string on the fishing rod. Oh, you almost got it. All right then, Andrew, did you have anything else? Because I think we're good to move on to the next segment.
No, I'm good with that. Yeah.
All right, so the next segment, I'm gonna give it over to you, Andrew, because why don't you tell me how the new 3050 Ti's launch went with on EVGA's Q3.0?
All right. Well, let me go over EVGA Q3.0, and then I'll apply what we learn from what I say and apply that to the 3050 launch, because that was technically the second launch event that this queue applies to. So EVGA Q 3.0, we did talk about it in a previous podcast about 2 weeks ago. So you might want to go back to that. It covers more the basics of it, but I'm going to actually give the key points anyway. So Q 3.0 is a new way to sign up for the notify list for getting these new GPUs through EVGA.com specifically. They've had a notify system in place since the 30 series launch, but it was all based on time. So it was in order of who signed up first, and that was the only factor. So Q 3.0 changes that. And the key points are the customers may have up to 2 VGA notifications at a time per person. So if you are considering, let's say, a 3060 Ti and a 3070, you could sign up for one of each. And it's one notification per GPU chipset. So you wouldn't be able to sign up for both 3050 SKUs, for instance, but you could sign up for a 3050 and a 3060. But it's also important to note that this queue applies to future GPUs, notifies going forward. So, as has been in the past, EVGA Elite members get 24-hour access ahead of non-Elite members to this notify system. I've made it a point in previous videos as well, but if you are not an EVGA Elite member, you should sign up now. Chances are you're already eligible if you own an EVGA product. Just make sure you register it to your account and then head over to the EVGA Elite page and enable Elite. There's other ways to do it through forum posts and the like. If you don't own an EVGA product, it is accessible to everyone in one way or another. But it's going to give you that first 24 hours of the queue, which is pretty critical. So the queue order, we had said that the old version was based on time. The new Q 3.0 is based on multiple factors, not just the sign up time. They've introduced a new thing called EVGA scores, which I will get into in a moment. But basically, if you do sign up for the notify, at some point when the card is available to you, you will get an email, and from that point, you will have 24 hours to purchase it through the link in the email. So all new graphics cards going forward will use this system. So the order of the queue is first based on EVGA's score. Like I said, I'll get into that in just a minute, but that is the primary factor driving when you will get your notification. That's the most important thing, is your EVGA score. And the EVGA score is based on a few factors, but the value of your registered products is one. However many EVGA bucks you've earned, which is part of what they call the EVGA Associates program, and blue ribbons for forum posts. And what that means is if you are a participant on the EVGA forums and you post something that's particularly helpful or informative, the moderators there can handpick messages that they find useful to the community and give you a blue ribbon for that. That's actually going to improve your EVGA score and therefore help you get a GPU a little bit better. Now, customers are sorted by tiers based on EVGA score, and then EVGA scores are updated on the first of every month now. This is some new information that we didn't know when this program was announced, but the EVGA score is going to be updated the first of every month, which may move some members up or down a tier. So that's important to know. If you still have some EVGA products that you need to get registered, now's the time to do it, actually, a few days before the end of the month, because that EVGA score is going to update.
Yep.
Following EVGA score, prioritization in the notification system, next up, is done based on time and date. So this acts as a tiebreaker for customers with the same EVGA score. Thirdly, if a customer has already purchased a 30 series GPU, they are deprioritized in the VGA queue and will become eligible to purchase their GPU after others in their tier purchase a 30 series product. So what that means is this EVGA score system breaks you down into different tiers based on your score. So let's just say there's a tier from 0 to 5 is your score, and then a tier where it's 6 to 10. You might be in that higher tier, but if you've already purchased a 30 series GPU, you have to wait for the people in your tier who have not to claim their cards before your notify comes up.
Because you get deprioritized.
Yeah, it's a deprioritization within your tier.
Mm-hmm.
So the final qualifier for that is that some items are exclusive to EVGA Elite members only, regardless of everything else I've said. So that's a big reason to sign up for Elite. But the three main factors that contribute to your score are the purchases and the price of the registered products, the EVGA bucks you've earned over time, and the blue ribbons you earn on the forum with helpful posts. And that is the latest with the Q3.0. Now, applying that to the 3050 launch, on the launch day, the notify queue was to open for 24 hours before it was open to the public. The first 24 hours were for Elite members. However, the two SKUs that EVGA had, one was $249, one was $329. And the notification queue only opened for the more expensive card, the $329 card. It was not there on the $249 card.
Even though that was available on Newegg Shuffle.
Yeah, so the card existed. It was available through other vendors, but it didn't allow you to sign up for the notification queue on the cheap base card on launch day, which was unfortunate because I think a lot of people anticipating this card said, that's a great card. I have $250 that I'll spend on a GPU.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, yeah, okay, but we need $80 more.
Exactly.
You know, it's not great for people, just especially when they know this card exists at $249, because that's what all the reviews, that's basically what all the review samples were.
Well, it was $80 because it was $1 per megahertz, right? On the OC.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. 80 megahertz.
Overclock it. Yeah, it's crazy to me, but
yeah. So
yeah, that's pretty much all I have on the queue. Technically, the first card to use this was the 3080 12 gigabyte that came out a week or two prior. But you know, I don't really think that's a card worth talking about too much anyway. That was technically the first SKU to come out since this queue was announced
on the system.
Yeah.
So if I were to, there's a lot of people that wonder, right? How do you raise your score, right? So based on what you and I know so far on our research and our investigation, it appears that having a lot of EVGA products registered does not equate exactly to a higher score. Let me explain. So I know of at least a few people on our Discord that have many EVGA products, and their score is lower than mine. Now, of course, we don't really have a large sample size, and it's like asking people for the credit score, so it's kind of hard to do. But it also appears, we haven't confirmed this at this time, but it also appears that EVGA puts extremely heavy weight on your score on other things that they don't necessarily talk about, such as your associate's program status, your elite status, and how much.
Well, they are talking about that now.
Now they are. Initially, they didn't mention anything about it. So it almost appeared that if you bought a bunch of mice and keyboard, like not GPU products from them in the past, you were doing good, because that kind of seemed to be the trend. Then it kind of dawned upon me that maybe it had to do with your other parts of your EVGA, so your forum posts, how helpful you are, the blue ribbons, all that good stuff. But it does not seem to be directly correlated to how much stuff you have from EVGA.
Well, they do say you get more, you get a higher score by buying 30 series GPUs than you do 20 or 16 or 10. And if you buy a power supply, you get a higher score if you get a higher wattage and higher efficiency power supply. So
AKA
the
spend more
product
money.
yeah, exactly. So the product does contribute to the score. Getting a more expensive product contributes more. But yeah, the associate program with the EVGA bucks is a big contribution if you're in that. And anyone can do
Allegedly,
that,
we
by the
haven't
way.
confirmed that yet.
Yeah, anyone can do that though if they want. Basically, the program is this: you sign up to be an associate. It takes away your ability to use a coupon code at checkout, but it gives you a coupon code to share with other people, and they will get a discount for using your code, and then you get a kickback in EVGA bucks for them using that code. So, and that helps your EVGA score, which some people might be interested in doing that, some people might not. But the other thing is the blue ribbons on the forum. So if you're a regular on their forum and you post a lot, you probably already have some blue ribbons, and that contributes to your score. I'm not particularly on the EVGA forums all that much, but I think it's an attempt to get a little bit more traffic going over in that direction, which isn't a bad thing, especially if you like to talk about tech. There's probably some interesting conversations happening over there about the latest cards and all that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, there's, I mean, I think this is a good direction EVGA is going, because no longer do you have to worry about clicking that button literally in fractions of a second. Like, the queues that have been going out, if you've been keeping up with the forum posts, are literally fractions of a second. So let's say they have 1,000 cards. The first 100 are going to go to the first 100ths of a second that got clicked on that button, right?
Well, not to mention, let's say these cards, these notifies have been going live at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Yep.
Everyone jumps on at that time, and the site crashes. And people are refreshing for a half hour, an hour, 2 hours, until the site actually loads so they can get their notify in. It's a huge time-consuming thing if you're just trying to get in line.
Yeah, the privilege of getting in line.
Yeah, so this new system puts less weight on date and time, which is awesome, I think. It's just a matter of you have to have an EVGA score, which means you have to buy some EVGA products. But if you don't have a GPU, if you don't have an EVGA product yet, get on the forums and start posting. Maybe you'll get a blue ribbon if you're posting useful information. Either way, it's not going to hurt anyway.
All right, so I don't really have too much more on that because we did cover a lot of it last time. This is just basically the updates to, again, as we learn more about this, we will bring you this more on these podcasts and such, especially as we get updates. Like, for example, this month we, after it launched, we learned that the snapshot is the first of every month. The associates program helps with your score. It appears to, at least. And all these other things that we didn't really know are happening. So going to some questions in chat. By the way, if you have any questions for us at all, just at me or at Mastermind Crypto in chat. We are both here to answer your questions. Some Goblin Loser IDK says, so what if you are a super pleb? Then what? I think that was referring to not having any cards. So if that is the case, so this is interesting. If you have no 3000 series cards and your score is low, we don't know yet, but it appears you might be on the same tier as someone that does already have a card that has a little bit higher score than you. Just a little bit, not a lot. So it's not necessarily a you're screwed. It's more targeting people that don't have cards yet. So then you might ask, well, why don't I just make a bunch of new accounts? Wow, just counteracts that. You need to have a higher score to be guaranteed to get, or have a higher chance of getting a card. So making multiple accounts, signing up for the auto notifies does absolutely nothing. It just dilutes your chances even higher. Doom Miner says, so if you're a big miner with lots of EVGA products and your brown nose on the forums, you get GPUs. No, not exactly. As we have explained earlier, that does help if you have a lot of GPUs registered on your account, but it's not, that seems to be like less than 25% of your score. It's not a significant portion, not enough to cause a big swing to get you a high spot. It seems that the forum posts really help, but Andrew, you want to just go over real quick how to get a blue ribbon? Just describe that in like a quick summary.
Yeah, so you go on the forums. Let's say someone has a question. Maybe you know the answer. You post the answer in an efficient way that gives a good amount of information and helps the person with the question. Doesn't necessarily have to be a response to a question, but just something that contributes to the topic. And then the moderators on the EVGA forums sees that message and says, well, that was, nice of him to do or whatever, took the time to get into detail, help someone out. Then the moderator has the ability to give that person or that post a blue ribbon, which is just sort of a way to give recognition in their community. And that in turn contributes to the EVGA score.
Yeah, and just to be clear, guys, this is specific to only EVGA products. So GPUs and products from any other company will not apply whatsoever. It'd be nice if other companies did something similar. Like, I have no idea what Asus is doing. I have no idea what, Power Color is doing. As far as I know, they're letting all the distributors handle it because whatever X, Y, and Z reason. I'm going to take a look at chat real quick, see if there's any questions about this stuff. Then we're going to go on to the next segment here. K-Spec 2001. Hey, man. How you doing? Thanks for joining us on the stream. Crypto Duck's here. How you doing, Crypto Duck? Thanks for joining us on the stream. John Germain. Don't see any questions particular to this topic, so we're just gonna go on to the next subject. Andrew, do you have anything else on that?
No, let's move on.
All right, so moving on to our next segment, Intel's Arc Alchemist. Not to be confused with Edward Elric, the Full Metal Alchemist. This is a little different. So, Andrew, why don't you tell me more about this new Alchemist from Intel?
We know Intel has been working on some GPUs. We've heard the rumors for a while now, and it seems like they're getting close. So Intel Arc is going to be the new name for all things Intel gaming. So there will be other lineups for graphics cards that aren't gaming focused, but the Arc line is gaming focused. So it's the branding more specifically to the high performance graphics cards that Intel will be bringing to the market pretty shortly. So a lot of this is still in rumor form, but there have been some leaks, and we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
So the rumor is that they have a high-end SKU with 16 gigabytes of VRAM and also an entry-level card said to have 4 or 8 gigabytes of VRAM, and this may or may not be a laptop SKU. And also there will be a mid-range card with 12 gigabytes of VRAM. So that's what the rumors say so far. They have different numbers of compute cores as well, basically in line to make sense with the amount of VRAM they have. So the ETA right now that they're saying is early 2022 for the laptop SKUs and desktop SKUs to appear on the market later this year. So the pricing is also unannounced, but there are rumors circulating that the high-end card with 16 gigabytes of VRAM, that is, will be priced around $600.
Ooh.
Now that prices it somewhere in the range of a 3070, which
MSRP.
if it performs MSRP, if it performs like a 3070, a lot of people want a card at that actual price point. It's not a crazy price in this market. We have plenty of cards over $1,000, so $600 for good performance would be a nice, some nice competition added to the GPU market. So there has been a leak in the last week or so where a recent synthetic benchmark result of Intel's highest end card performed pretty similar to a 3070 Ti. It kind of traded blows with it. There, it was a synthetic benchmark with a few different tests, and some were in favor of the Intel, some were in favor of the NVIDIA card. But overall, it seemed to perform pretty similar to a 3070/3070 Ti, which I think that's a great achievement for Intel, kind of getting into this for the first time, taking it really seriously. I think that's a pretty good mark to hit. What do you think about that?
So I think it's a good thing to have a third player in this game. I really wonder, being that it's a new product and all that, how it's going to perform So let me just back up a little bit. The Intel HE graphics cards are already out. Just so you guys know, they already exist in the real world. We already have numbers. Okay, they're basically really high-end Iris Pro graphics. Okay, if Intel enters the market, if their first product is not great, that's kind of okay because it's their first one. But if they don't make a product that's good, that's competitive to the others, what are they really adding, right? Now the rumor that it's as good as a 3070 Ti, I'm going to speculate to say it's good as a 3060 Ti, 3070, right around there. Because, you know, these things always change. I think it'll be really good because think about it like this. You could either choose AMD, choose NVIDIA, but now you can also choose Intel. So if Intel becomes 10% of the market share of GPUs, that's going to put a lot of pressure on both of NVIDIA and AMD to not do what they're currently doing in the current market, right? So I think more GPUs in the sense of manufacturers is good. Regarding performance, I really hope that these performance numbers are not dependent on a crazy, insane TDP. There was rumors way early, like 2 years ago, a year ago, that these GPUs had like TDPs like 500 watts and some crazy like that. I would say as long as it's within line with those numbers, it'd be pretty good. Also, we don't know anything about any type of deep machine learning that people might be doing with them. So I really hope they're not, and that the deep machine learning programs don't support it and it doesn't get bought up by that. We'll see, right?
Yeah, I mean, time will tell. We're looking at the end of the year, but we will be seeing in the next few months, most likely, the laptop SKUs show up in like higher end laptops like Alienware. And I think that will give us at least some insight into what we can expect from the desktop counterparts.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I'm concerned. I'll just say that. I'm concerned they're going to make a crappy product and then their reputation is going to get hurt. And when they finally make a good product, it's not going to get very much attention, or rather, they're just going to kill the line, something like that. You know, Intel's been known for making things and just letting it die. So I really hope it's a good product. I really hope it's really efficient energy-wise. And hey, I would love to have a graphics card that's primary colors are silver and blue. That'd be kind of cool, instead of red and black or green and black, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably going to be, you know how AMD cards and NVIDIA cards at the same price point, you know, they perform similarly, but, you know, one does one thing better, one does something else better. I think Intel's gonna kind of fall into that category as well, where it might not be the best for, you know, this or that at the price point, but maybe it does something else better. Maybe it does compute better. Maybe it does, you know, Blender renders better. So I think it will have some sort of balance to, you know, level out performance at the price point that it hits the market. Because Intel, you know, whether or not they make a good product, they want to sell these. So I think they're going to price them fairly competitively. They're not going to be, you know, the new guy in town setting a price above the competition and saying, oh yeah, just
Yep.
trust us, it's going to be better. They're going to try
They're not
and get,
NVIDIA.
yeah, they want people to buy these. So, you know, just to get familiar with it and have people talking about them, they're probably going to be competitively priced, I would say. You know,
Hey,
because there's going to be people out there that say, okay, Intel comes out with this GPU, it performs the same as the NVIDIA and AMD cards at the same price point. So why would I get Intel instead of what I'm already familiar with? You know, there has to be an incentive to the buyer.
exactly. So I'm pretty excited about it coming out. I do agree with your point that they do have to price these things competitively, or else no one will get them. So it'll be interesting when it comes out. I think they're going to target their Nooks first, honestly. Their like Hades Canyon, their Ghost, whatever canyon it is nowadays. I think their Nooks are going to be the first ones to get them like as an exclusive. I think that would make the most sense because they're trying to target their...
Well, we're specifically talking about Arc Alchemist, which is their gaming lineup specifically.
Yeah, I'm talking about the gaming Nook, the Ghost Can, the one that's all gamery, that's like overpriced and
Right,
everything. Yeah, because
right.
it's the kind that has the GPU and the motherboard's slotted motherboard. It's that kind.
Yep.
All right. So if you have anything else on that, Andrew, I was gonna look at the chat and see if there's any stuff.
Yeah, let's see if anyone's asking any questions there.
Yeah. So we got something from Soul7 TekShinji. Are the Intel 128, 192, or 256? I think that's bus speed. We don't know that yet, right?
Yeah. No, we do. Well, we know the rumors.
Okay.
So the 16 was listed as 256. The mid-range was 128.
Okay, so it's not horrible. I'd like to see higher than 256, but that's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean it sort of makes sense at that price point for the performance you're getting to be a 256-bit bus. But actually the mid-range is 192. And then that lower end SKU, which I mentioned might be for laptops, is 96-bit. So it's a fairly low end one there. But yeah, the top tier card is supposedly going to be 256.
256.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's cool.
I mean, it
I want to see
fits in line
something
with the other cards at that price point.
I know, but I want to see something more amazing, like groundbreaking, like 512.
Yeah, I mean they could, but memory bandwidth at that, without core performance to back it up is kind of, unnecessary, a waste of resources.
Excuse me, guys. Yeah, I agree with that. Who knows? I'm sorry, the Intel APU style. They're on chip Iris Pro graphics. Have you guys taken a modern 11th or 12th gen chip and used Iris Pro graphics? You can play Counter-Strike, Overwatch, StarCraft. Basically, you can play any game on it, no problem. It won't be at the highest frame rate. Everything will be on low settings, but like, they've come a long way. Like, it's not like back in the day where it's basically just for display output. They can handle a lot of games these days. Like, was it Rocket League? It plays it just fine. Like, no problems. I could play Overwatch on lowest settings of 15, 20 FPS. I mean, yeah, it's not great.
Not to mention Intel's integrated graphics have done very well with transcoding.
Ah, yes, that was on my mind. So those of you that are in video editing or whatever, there's this feature called QuickSync, and QuickSync is actually very, very good compared to NVIDIA's NVENC. So I don't remember off the top of my head. I haven't used it in a long time, but it's like what, 70% of the performance of NVENC for no extra money. That's pretty freaking awesome.
Whatever it is so much faster than doing CPU encoding.
Yeah, like magnitudes faster. If something took an hour on CPU, NVENC would handle it in 10 minutes. Like it's much faster.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, other question. Red Panda Mining says Intel is making GPUs for miners. Oh yeah, the mining ASIC, right? Yeah. That's I'm sorry, the deep machine learning ASIC. That's right.
Doom Miner Intel GPUs releasing end of 2022. Yeah, that's what they're saying. The desktop GPUs will be closer to the end of the year, while the laptop ones should be appearing in the next couple of months.
Yep. Some Goblin Loser says, OMG TekShinji, we can have full Intel builds just like we can have full AMD builds. Ah, yes, that's a good point. Yeah, we can make the full Intel chip, Intel GPU. It's already got Intel chipset on the Intel everything computers. That'd be, yeah, I'd like to see that. That'd be kind of cool.
I think we're gonna see that. We're gonna have Intel gaming laptops without NVIDIA or AMD dedicated GPUs. So I think it's no accident that they're kind of releasing these around the same time that the 12th gen laptop CPUs should be appearing as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think in the laptop it would make a lot of sense because they generally, I mean, I don't know the architecture really, how it's made or any of that. Do you know, is it what, TSMC, or are they making their own fab?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean that's not really public information yet anyway, since it technically doesn't exist. I'm sure it's like there in a lab somewhere. They're just like, oh my god, we got this GPU.
Actually, no, I think they are going TSMC with this first round of GPUs.
Just because of the fact they don't have the capacity yet, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
they wanted it. They wanted it on a fab that was already mature, basically.
Yeah. Tyson, TekShinji, hi. Sorry I'm late. It's all right, buddy. I know you still love me. No matter how much you hate me, I'll always love you. Thanks for joining us, Tyson. Let's see. Red Panda says he uses QuickSync. Yes, QuickSync is great. I hope you don't, because I think you have other things that are better than QuickSync. Oh yeah, you're just joking. Yeah. Yeah. The 10700K QuickSync Adobe Premiere Pro full the win. Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. All right. I'm gonna look for any other questions in chat regarding that subject. Soul7 says TekShinji laptop pricing might be going down since it's more in-house. Yeah, laptops, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe laptops are outselling desktops now, correct? Like, no one's buying desktops anymore.
I think so. Well, desktops, you
They've been
know,
on
I
the
think
decline for a
laptops
while.
at least. Yeah. But the thing is with laptops, I don't think they're going to pass that margin on to the customer. They're going to capture it themselves. So if they can make a laptop for cheaper, they're not going to necessarily price it cheaper. And we're also seeing a big trend in people getting lighter and more ultra portable or higher, premium laptops. So I think that market's growing. So we're not necessarily going to see more cheap laptops. We might just see more expensive laptops. Maybe they can drop the price down a little bit, but I think we're going to see a lot of high-end laptops with these new gaming GPUs.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially if they can keep the efficiency, right? Techman TY, thanks for joining, man. He says, hey everybody, TekShinji, you sound like you're feeling better. Yes, I'm feeling much better. It's been 2 weeks since I tested positive, so it's been a whole week since I tested negative. Actually put a big hamper on our production. We have been having issues because we basically haven't had any real on-site filming with a crew in like a month. So it's great that I'm finally better and everyone else in my household is better. All right then, if we don't have anything else, Andrew, we'll move on to the next segment.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So the last subject for tonight, the Meta supercomputer. That's right, folks. Facebook, now the company Metaverse, is making a supercomputer that is not for the metaverse. It's called the Meta AI supercomputer. Now, you might be wondering, so what? Why do I care? Well, let me explain to you. Let me just go over some specs first, all right? First of all, it's already been built, okay? Phase 1 is already complete. It's already in operation. They started work on it about 1.5 years ago, and currently it's got 175 petabytes of bulk storage, 6,080 NVIDIA A10 GPUs. For those of you that don't know what an A10 is, it's incredibly expensive. It has 40 gigabytes. A100s. Thank you. Not the A10 Tank Buster. This GPU has 40 gigabytes of HBM2E memory and is specifically designed to handle machine learning tasks. You probably could game on it, but it's probably not good for any of that stuff. It's really designed for this type of work. They're calling this Meta Super AI computer the RSC, the Research Supercluster. Now, there's screenshots of it and all that good stuff. You can see the building. The majority of the planning, the building, all this was planned remotely. So this is like the first time a real commercial data center was built in this short time frame without people in an office building because of the human malware situation, which is pretty amazing. Think of what you will of the company Meta and Facebook. They're still a pretty amazing company when they come to some research items. So this is one of the first like AI supercomputer facilities that was basically planned all from home. And the first racks started rolling in about 1 year ago. Racks as in rack computers, the racks of computers, the servers. And the whole facility is supposed to be completed by the mid 2020s and be fully operational before the end of this year, 2022. By the time it's completely done, they will triple their capacity to 16,000 GPUs. Okay, and this system, when it's fully complete, Allegedly, it's going to have the power, quote from Facebook, with more than 1 trillion parameters on data sets as large as an exabyte. Okay, I'll give you an example of how big an exabyte is. It's past petabyte. Okay, imagine doing all those calculations that quickly. Like, it's just mind-boggling, right? And me and Andrew were talking about this earlier. He was saying in 50 years, you'll have this type of processing power in your pocket. I think he's full of crap. I think we're going to have this type of processing power in our pocket in 10 years. 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, if we've learned anything from technology, it's that it evolves exponentially, not linearly. So,
definitely,
everything is well, part of that's based on, whether or not there's competition in a market as well, though.
Yeah,
I think AI definitely drives technology forward, but if NVIDIA is the only one really making a decent product in that sense, then they can kind of throttle it at whatever speed they want and keep the the good stuff in-house, so to speak.
They can also charge whatever the hell they want for it too.
Yeah, I don't think Meta has a small budget though.
No, they have a lot of money. I mean, they definitely have more money than me. So, so just to go over some key differences, why this is kind of significant, different. So when they're done, it will be allegedly the most powerful AI supercomputer in the world. So AI supercomputers don't have to be the reason why they're different from traditional supercomputers, right? Traditional supercomputers are hyper accurate, okay, in their calculations. AI supercomputers do a lot of deep machine learning and don't have to be as accurate, but need a whole ton of data throughput. So they're kind of different. They're not the exact same thing. I go into more, but it's really complicated. There's a lot of stuff. That's just a super simplification. So you might be wondering, what are they going to be used for? It's going to be used for researching and development across all of Meta's products and their items, from moderation algorithms to like determine hate speech and stuff online, to AR, to analyzing large data sets with multiple factors, and of course deep machine learning.
Yeah, I think you could do most of that on a Raspberry Pi, so I think they got something up their sleeve in terms of what this thing's actually going to be computing.
Well, so like, I can guarantee you they're not telling us exactly what they're doing with it. That's for sure. I'm sure that this computer that they're building,
I mean, this isn't really like, it's not like this is a computer for 3M or Johnson & Johnson. This is for Meta, the company that is Facebook, that has access to more personal information than probably any other company. So,
I mean, Minority Report, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying, bro, okay? If any of you guys seen the TV show Persons of Interest, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so if you just real quick, for those of you that don't know, for some reason, if you're living under a rock, what Meta is, Facebook has now changed to Meta, as in Meta is the umbrella company. Facebook still exists, it's just a part of that company. Meta is supposed to be like your second life. You can do everything in the Meta universe, right? You can go online, see people, you can go to a movie, whatever. It's just like real life, but in the Meta world. Now, this is just what they're starting now. This is why they want VR and all that stuff. They think this is going to be the future. Kind of like Ready Player One. They're trying to make something similar to that. So with machines like this that they're building, which is, I have no idea, it's probably cost several $1 billion. Think of what they can do. Like, if you actually go look up reviews or whatever about the Meta supercomputer, a lot of them are actually not made by people. They were made by a machine algorithm. In fact, there's one video that was made by an AI host. Everything in that video was written by a computer, edited, and even the person you see is not real. They're fake. They're made by the computer. So that was a kind of a funny quirk when doing research for this stuff right here. As it is the case, though, it's not about the raw numbers or the size of your hardware, but how it's applied. Similar to how giving professional tools to a novice doesn't really get used efficiently, they still need the personnel, the talent, and the wizardry to use this tool properly. So the fact that they're investing this kind of money, this kind of resource into it, tells me they definitely have something up their sleeve that we don't know about.
Yeah, I think AI is really the next big thing that we're going to see integrated into everyone's life. Everyone's existence will have some connection to AI. And, it could be a scary future ahead. I don't really know what that's going to mean in 10 years, but, Meta is just one of many companies doing this. But like I said, they have a huge pool of information, personal information for most of the people on the planet.
Yeah, what is it? They got like 2 billion users, so roughly what, 1/5 of the world's population of this world, Earth. Think about that, guys. Every Earthling, every human on this planet, 1 out of 5 of them have a Facebook account in some way. Think
Yep.
just the power you have with that, right? I mean, you could essentially use this computer to figure out who's going to commit crimes, like Minority Report
Yeah,
style,
it's not just a program, sorting people by similarities and whatnot. It's actually training models and deriving information that didn't otherwise exist
Exactly.
and doing predictions. So honestly, I don't know how much information we'll end up getting about this thing even when it's fully operational, but um I don't know. It's definitely a feat of technology regardless.
Yeah, like they had some B-roll of the facility and all the stuff inside, and the amount of fiber cable in there is pretty amazing. There's other things that they flashed B-roll of that I wanted to know more about, but yes, they have liquid cooled servers of some kind. I saw it. It's pretty cool. And they got these giant like NVMe SSD racks that have fiber connections to everything. It's pretty darn cool. I would love to see more of it. I would love to be there in person. I'm sure that'll never happen, but the fact that they're building a tool like this, it's like, Andrew, we asked, we spent so much time wondering if we could. We should have asked if we should.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this thing's gonna send the Terminator back to find John Connor. Who knows?
Well, we all know John Connor didn't do it.
No.
Yeah.
Does he work at Meta?
Not yet. That's
There
in the
probably is a John Connor that works at Meta.
Oh my God, that's yeah.
In
probably.
the AI department.
In the AI department, yeah, and he's gonna be the one responsible for freaking starting Skynet. Yeah, that's what chat's going on about. Let's get to chat. So, Soul7 says Skynet will be coming online. Techman TY says all your base belong to Metaverse. That's a StarCraft reference for those that don't know. It's like a cheat code to instantly win. Clutch VS5 says I'm scared. I mean, so realistically, guys, computers taking over the world, it's not realistically gonna happen. Not in the way we see in Terminator. Way that it might take over the world is artificially suppressing us, kind of like they do in China with a certain group of people. Let's see here. John Germain says the supercomputer will have the capacity to track every banking transaction of everyone. They already do.
Yep.
So, yeah, this will be pretty interesting, because if they have this type of machine, you know what this means, that Jeff Bezos is going to be pretty jealous, and he's going to want one better. He's going to build one with 100,000 A100s or A200 squareds or whatever it will be at that time. I'm not scared. I would say it's pretty amazing to see what's going to happen.
The thing is, this is a company basically contracting this thing from NVIDIA, more or less.
Yep.
Makes you just wonder what NVIDIA is doing internally. The
Maybe quantum GPU.
Honestly, I think they have some crazy stuff going on. It would not surprise me if they are really the leader in AI, even when compared to these giant supercomputers that billion-dollar companies are running. NVIDIA themselves is one, so.
Exactly. NVIDIA is basically producing these things, so kind of like other companies I don't name here, they produce something, they use it, then they sell it to the public after they're done with it. So I don't know. It could mean anything. Who knows? Maybe this is how Skynets get started, but I doubt any Skynet type situations like in Terminator will happen anytime soon. It's just not physically like within the realm of possibility yet. Computers can only currently do what they're programmed to do. We don't actually have true artificial sentient intelligence it's only artificially intelligent because we tell it to be. We don't really actually have true like synthetic soul. We don't have a soul. We don't have artificial soul creation yet. As soon as we have that, we better be worried. I'll tell you that.
I don't know, man. We've been doing CAPTCHAs for like 2 decades. I think they got a lot of information now.
Yeah, and what freaking looks like a sidewalk and what looks like, someone wearing a white suit.
We're just gonna be like, I don't know. Never mind. I'm not gonna go there with the CAPTCHAs, but
let's not go there. Yeah. All right, guys. So if you have any questions for us, anything that we're working on, anything about the channel, anything about all that type of stuff, let us know now, because we are now going to go into the closing portion of this podcast. Yeah, so just a review, we did talk about quite a few topics tonight. We talked about the 3050 launch and how it's an okay GPU, EVGA's 3.0Q updates, and the first real look on how it worked with what we know. Intel's Alchemist, not to be confused with Edward Elric, the Alchemist. And Meta's AI supercomputer. So it's pretty exciting stuff in the tech world. We tried to limit it to the topics that we care most about, so to say. There's a lot, obviously, to talk about, and I just try to pick the ones that I find interesting. So in our Discord, we do have an area for content suggestions. Speaking of which, in the description below of the slide screen is a link to our Discord. The way to join our Discord is a little different than other Discords, so there's also a video accompanied with that. That'll help you get in. So if you click on that link, it'll take you to the video, or if you click on the link to go right to the Discord, you could do it yourself. It's a 3-step process. If you do get in, it is a great community. We got a lot of people there that are knowledgeable in tech, computers, and gaming and such. Also, I pretty much stream there like every other night. That's where I do all my video games. And like whenever I'm building a computer or something, I sometimes do exclusive in Discord live streams. So go ahead, check that community out when you guys get a chance. It is pretty cool. I'm just going to look at the chat real quick. Andrew, did you have anything?
no, I don't think so. Yeah, definitely check out the Discord. We're honestly going to be adding a ton more features to the Discord in the coming months. A lot of stuff we want to roll out, and the only thing we're really waiting on is, a few more members to pop in and grow the community so that we can. So there's a lot that I'm looking forward to in the Discord. But yeah, like you said, he streams there quite often. We have a few members that stream pretty religiously on a daily basis, pretty much. So, especially if you play Halo, Overwatch, Forza, am I missing one?
Minecraft,
yeah. So if you play any of those games, there's a pretty large community of members that stream that. So we have a few different voice chats where you can stream that and play with the other people there. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. I'm there multiple times a day. Streaming. I'm usually in voice chat while I'm at work and stuff, so you guys could definitely come by. And of course, there's not a lot of content creators that are easily accessible like that, where you could just hop into voice chat and ask me a question or whatever. We're there to help the community and there for you guys. So with that, guys, I think that's going to be it for this podcast. What do you think, Andrew?
I think it's time to call it. It's been a pretty good one. I hope it was interesting to you guys. So yeah, definitely want to see you guys next week. It's going to be the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, we'll have some new topics for you.
Yeah, for sure, guys. All right. So with that said, guys, we will see you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. And again, guys,
it's 6, not 6:30.
Yes, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to say that wrong multiple times in my career. I know it. Thank you to everyone for joining us for this